charge leaving the scene of an accident, causing death or serious bodily injury. There's no argument that she fled. She went home. The court is well aware of the facts of this case, and I believe OV-19 is score appropriate.
It reads the offender otherwise interfered with or attempted to interfere with the administration of justice. It didn't end. It was a continuum until she came back. So I believe it's scored properly as well. The objection is noted for purposes of appeal.
Thank you, Your Honor. Aside from that, the report is factually accurate. There was also a substance abuse assessment that was performed as a result of the misdemeanor offense, I believe, that was involved. We went over that as well. Both appear to be appropriate, and we are ready to proceed to sentencing. Do you have some few comments on behalf of Ms. Sparkman?
And who would like to address the court?
Your Honor, William Skorzewski and his mother would both like to address. I'd ask Mom to come up first. Your Honor, Mother, just so you know, while her son was in the hospital, it was her mother and father who were caring for him, making decisions for him. There was a period of time where he was unable to make decisions on behalf of himself. Ms. Skorzewski.
Good morning.
Can you please state your name for the record?
Sheila Skorzewski.
And what would you like to tell me, ma'am?
Sure.
I'm going to read it so I don't... First, I want to say how this whole thing has impacted our whole family. This was a traumatic episode for all of us, especially because we were worried about someone we love and how it would affect them still. I watch my son in physical pain every day. I see him wince and try to stretch all the broken parts of his body to try to get some relief. He will always have metal plates and screws in his ankle and in his whole pelvic and hip area. He will always have a foreign apparatus in his aorta, which was used to repair the torn aorta. These are all things that will always need to be monitored and will cause pain, increasing pain, for the rest of his life. He can't hear out of one ear due to the impact. He has post-traumatic issues requiring ongoing visits with a psychologist to deal with them. We lost our daughter Bridget in July. And Billy's last year and a half with his sister was often tumultuous and certainly not relaxing or enjoyable as he tried to deal emotionally with everything going on. We, and he, most importantly, can never get that time back with Bridget. Billy's big passion has always been hockey. He can no longer play at a level he is used to. This is very depressing for him and causes a lot of frustration for him and those of us that care about him and see the physical and emotional pain. He will never be the same. He was a strong, healthy young man and is now beset with physical and emotional pain for the rest of his life. None of us want Christina in jail, but we want to know she is held accountable for her actions that night. And those of her mother and friends that tried to hide it and hide the car. She didn't just drive away, leaving my son in the middle of the street to die. She pulled into the parking lot after flipping him over her vehicle and talked to her friends about it and discussed it, thought about it, before making a conscious decision to drive away and leave him there to die. She continued home where her mother helped her hide her vehicle in the garage, close the door, and park vehicles behind it. I don't know how anybody can do that and leave someone to die. If not for the young man that came across my son laying in the road, he surely would be dead now. I would like to see her get the maximum probation in lieu of any jail time. She needs to understand the impact of her actions and learn from them. I would ask that she have a reporting probation, maximum amount of community service. I would like to see her do service with people with brain injuries or other rehabilitation or paralysis due to an accident such as this, preferably at a nonprofit organization that will help the community. There is a MAD victim impact panel that I think would be one good idea for this. A lot of people have the attitude that Billy is okay now and he's alive. He didn't die. And yes, he's alive, which we're all thankful for, but he will never be the same physically or mentally. None of us will. And there is more than one way to die.
Anything else? Thank you.
William? William,
morning.
your name for the record?
My name is William Sparkman.
Good morning.
Your Honor, my mother expressed most of the feelings that me and my family have been going through over the past year, and I just really wanted to make it clear that there really is no desire to punish her by any means, and that this is it's not for me or anybody else to judge her here. So I just want her to learn from everything from this. I mean, it's affected my life in both negative and positive ways. So I want her to be able to take away from this so that she's ready for the rest of her life. She can help make a good impact on this one.
And let me ask you, sir, you understand the nature of the plea that has been placed in front of me, that there is a request that she be placed on the Home's Youthful Trainee status for a period of 3 years, meaning if she does not get into any trouble, if she's compliant with all of the conditions of probation, that she would not have this on her record. Do you have any objection to that?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And good luck to you. Counsel, what would you like to tell me?
Your Honor, I think this case boils down to, unfortunately, two things. One is forgiveness, and two is understanding. And what we're asking...
Well, I think there's a third element you're missing, but I'll get to that when it's my turn.
Right.
So I'll be quiet, I promise.
And the things that we're asking for, we obviously know, with all due respect to the family, that we're not entitled to. Now, I know it's very difficult for the family that was involved in this, and aside from Christina and her family and the select few other people in this court, something that I shared with the family this morning, I think I have a unique perspective on this case in the sense that 7 months ago on Saturday, my mother was hit in a crosswalk by a driver, and she too spent numerous days in the ICU, fractures, sitting next to her side, as this family did, wondering why, perhaps, why my son, why William? And at that time, I really thought about, should I stay on this case? And could I represent Christina in the future? Was I doing a disservice not only to myself, but perhaps to her and to her family? And the more and more I thought about this case, the more and more I thought, now as we stand here 7 months post my own personal impact, we have no idea who hit my mother. He left the scene. We have an idea what the car looked like and perhaps who he was or what ethnicity he was. But I know personally how difficult it is for this family, and I know how difficult it must be for them to stand here today. So I want to personally, on behalf of Ms. Sparkman, who will on her own apologize and express her own remarks in regards to this matter. But at the time of this incident, Christina was 17 years old. And in a matter of seconds, perhaps minutes, she had to do something. She had a decision to make that thankfully many adults going through their whole life never have to do. What do you do when you potentially hurt and or kill somebody? And she did what she's always done. She went home to seek the guidance of her mother and her grandmother. And I know that on the surface, some of the things that were mentioned here in regards to moving the vehicle and concealing it perhaps seem evil on the outside, show some malice. I would note that they did call the police about an hour and 10 minutes afterwards. And from that moment on, it became, how is the person? They never denied involvement. They never concealed the fact that she was driving. They never concealed the vehicle. The vehicle was immediately taken by police. Pictures were immediately taken. Parts that were on the scene were attributed to the car. And from that day, Christina, the 17-year-old girl then, to the 19-year-old girl now, again, not to undermine the emotion that the family is going through, has had to live with the fact that she almost killed somebody. And that's not easy. As a result of not only these proceedings, but she's gone through therapy. We're not asking for sympathy, but we're asking for the fact that a 17-year-old girl has had to reach out medically to address some of the things and anxiety and stresses and sorrow that she's wanting to express for many months, but pursuant to my advice that we haven't. To her credit, in the meantime, though she's been ridiculed both publicly and privately, she has graduated high school. She has now, for over 80 weeks, complied with ETG testing, alcohol testing, with 0 issues. She's enrolled in college, and she's still one of the bedrocks of her family. Although she stands before you asking for the court's mercy and asking for the family's understanding, she stands as, I believe, a changed young woman that's ready to move on with her life. And we're asking for the court to consider granting the HIDA so that she can be afforded a second opportunity, so that she can move on to bigger and better things, so that she can help the world in a way that she has to up to this point. And I know she has 2 letters, one to the family, if the court would allow, and one to the court, that she would like to read. I apologize in advance, she's a little nervous.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, I'm Christina Sparkman and I'm 19 years old. I live my daily life with my mother and my 3 brothers. I'm currently enrolled at Macomb Community College part-time and I maintain a nanny job part-time as well. The night of March 4th, 2014, I made the biggest mistake of my life. Leaving the scene of an accident where someone was severely injured. I regret every day the choice that I made, but I know that I cannot go back and change things now. I am terribly sorry for the damage and heartache I have caused so many people. There is no other reason to explain my actions besides pure shock and fright. I am not the type of person to hurt another human being. I have never been in a situation like this one, but since it has happened to me, I have grown into a new individual. When it comes to this accident, I know that I am not the victim and that William and his family are. I pray every single night that they will be able to forgive me for my poor decisions. This experience has opened my eyes in many ways. I now know that calling 911 is always the right answer whether you are scared or not. I am deeply saddened by the grief that I have caused everyone at this time, including my own family. I have never seen my mother go through such a hard time in her life as she has right now. I am extremely apologetic to everyone that has been affected by my wrongdoing. At this time, I would like to ask for a second chance, and I hope that to you I am deserving. I would like to take my time from this point forward to help other people who may not know how important their lives are. I would like to show and teach people the right thing to do in situations like mine. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter. Once again, I am deeply sorry for everything that I have put William and his family through, and I wish I could take all their pain away. Sincerely, Christina Sparkman. I also wrote one to William and his family. I would like to start this letter off by saying thank you. That I know it may not make a difference to you, but it will make me feel better knowing that I at least tried to apologize and express my feelings. This letter will never begin to explain the amount of sorrow and guilt I have felt for you and your family over this past 1.5 years. If I could go back in time and change everything that happened, I would do so. I never meant for any of this to happen. The amount of shock and fright that filled my mind is indescribable. I can't imagine how hard it has been for you and your family over this amount of time. I have spent countless days wondering how you all were doing and hoping that one day you'd be able to forgive me for the mistakes I have made. Throughout this time, I have had the chance to grow as a person. I have learned many lessons that I will keep with me forever and can hopefully teach to other people. I can't even begin to imagine the physical and mental pain I have caused. I hope that this letter will show you how truly and sincerely apologetic that I am. I have and will continue to pray for your family nightly. From the day that this all happened, I have wanted to apologize to all of you, but I understand that that wasn't the right time. I hope that now is. My deepest apologies.
So what do you want to tell me without reading? Because the third, let me tell you, the third thing that your attorney has failed to address is you were 17 years old and admitted to having 2 shots of vodka. Where do you get vodka at the age of 17?
It was provided by the person whose house I was at.
Okay. So you're 17 years old, you're already drinking vodka, and you're involved in this traumatic experience. What have you learned?
I have learned how important it is to stop and think about things before you react. And I understand that what I did was wrong. And I wish I could take it back, but I can't. And I've learned that I'm not invincible, and I'm sorry. I learned a lot about the person that I am, and I have always thought that other people are very important. And for me to leave the accident was one of the worst things that I've ever done, and I regret every single day that I did that.
Well, it seems to me your focus really should also be on the fact that you shouldn't be drinking at 17. Now you're 19 and you still shouldn't be drinking, let alone driving. That's the issue. Your attorney brings a unique experience. I know this prosecutor brings a unique experience, and he will tell a story, which he has in this courtroom, about how he's never drank alcohol because he never, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Hunt, never wanted to disappoint his father. And then you have my unique experience, who I personally, being a drunk driver, nearly killed my mother in an automobile accident. So we pretty much have a lot of different things going on in the dynamics of the people involved in your case. I understand what you've gone through. I understand, how you suffer. You personally suffer with the thought that you almost killed that young man, and in fact now have caused him great serious impairment of his hip. Your hip has been replaced, and other injuries that he sustained. The bottom line is, though, we need, and you need to reflect on your drinking, and that you should not be drinking and driving. And, you're 17, you're 19 now. Those people who provided you the alcohol, are they here today? No, because they could care less about you, and shame on them. Shame on them. But you're going to turn 21, and then that alcohol is going to become a legal thing that you yourself can buy. And hopefully by then you're going to be off your 3 years of probation. Every time you think that you want to have a drink, you need to think about this situation. And you need to learn from it. Not at the next drunk driving. I hope that never happens. You need to learn from it today, yesterday. And you can't drink and drive, period. Mr. Hunt, do you want to say anything? I allowed the defendant to speak before you had an opportunity.
Your Honor, I would only indicate that I've spent some time, obviously, with William and his mother and father, and the only thing that really hasn't been addressed here, you brought up the third thing that Mr. Goran, I'm sure, just not intentionally overlooked, the fact that his client was drinking and driving. But there needs to be some discussion as to where we go from here. I don't know if it was clear when Ms. Skorshevsky spoke, but they want to make sure that this court fashions a sentence so that not only does Ms. Sparkman take responsibility, but that a positive comes out of that. And by that I mean they thought it would be appropriate that she in fact do some community service, not only through MAD, but with a hospital, with people who have traumatic head injuries, so that she can see people with similar injuries, similar to that of what William went through. Certainly the next 3 years are going to tell a lot of if Ms. Sparkman has changed and gone back in a positive direction. And I would ask this honorable court at the appropriate time to set a review hearing at the end of the probationary period. The family and I have spoke at length about the fact of this plea, which is what the family wanted. They are aware of the fact that because it was pled to a felonious assault, that she does in fact have a chance to get it off her record. From day one, they've been saying that they did not want Ms. Sparkman to do jail, which I think addresses what Mr. Antofsky said about forgiveness, which is big because not everybody feels that way. And I commend them for being big enough to come into the courtroom and say, we forgive. But I want to make sure that at the end of the 3 years, we can come back and we can find out what Ms. Sparkman has been doing with her life so that William can then say, you know what, we made the right decision. I'm happy to see Ms. Sparkman is leading a positive life, and she made a horrible mistake when she was 17, but look what she's done with her life since that time.
You want a review after 3 years or before that?
Before the end of the 3-year period, Your Honor.
And I have to look for a date. What's the plan? What are you going to do? Where are you going? What are you doing?
I attend Macomb right now, and I am not exactly sure what I'm going for, but I've been considering dental hygiene as well as nursing. So I plan to choose and then eventually transfer to another college with one of the programs that I'm interested in. I plan on getting a new job so that I'm not a nanny anymore and I can do something for the community. And
So are you going to school full-time or is this a part-time gig?
I go to school part-time.
And you're a full-time nanny?
I'm also a part-time nanny.
So you're doing both. Anna, what date did you come up with?
I'm coming up, Judge, with September 26th of 2018.
I'm making a note on the file because I know I will not be here. And my note says to see how defendant is doing, victim should be notified to be present, and make sure your victim is aware of that date. I don't know, Anna, is there any way we can send out a notice to remind them? Because that's a long way out.
To my knowledge, Judge, there isn't.
Make sure the family's aware of the date, Your Honor. It's also sent to our victim advocate office. They make sure that they keep contact with the family.
And you're going to be able to remind yourself 3 years up.
It's an electronic
Okay.
computer system.
So the review date is September 26th of 2018. I made a note here for whoever it is that'll be sitting here. Hopefully that'll be, and I'm going to make a note, hopefully there will be a successful discharge from probation. And sometimes, you know, for me, having been arrested for drunk driving, nearly killing my mother, it followed me. It followed me through the Macomb Daily. It follows me every time I'm up for re-election, and that happened back in 1987. So the one thing that you need to expect is that it probably will be here, and it'll be a reminder for you forever. Okay? You have the rare opportunity to have this removed from your record. And it is going to be contingent upon how you perceive this probation and how you progress through probation. I hope that you recognize the dangers of alcohol. You will go through the MAD program. You will do the victim impact. I went to that panel. That's a very great thing for you to see. The effects. I haven't seen it in a while. Actually, I probably should go back and see it. And if that person's here, I would like to know the date so I can come out and see it again. I seen it way back when I was involved in my accident. But you need to learn. But you also need to understand that you've got to take and move forward. Okay? And it will be there, and it'll be a constant reminder. And that reminder is good for you. Because the next time that you want to drink, you're going to think twice. The next time that you're going to get in a car, you're going to be reminded, and you're going to be even safer, I hope. So take this as a learning experience, but most of all, be thankful that you had a victim who wants to see you succeed. That is, as your attorney said, forgiving. Okay? Because this is really a very rare opportunity for you. So I'm hopeful that you take advantage of it and you become whatever you can, whatever you want to be. My famous words are rise above. I won't be here to see you in 3 years, but I'm sure somehow the word's going to get back to me that you were successful. And I'm hopeful that everyone will be moving on and have moved on accordingly. The policy of the state of Michigan favors individualized sentencing for every convicted defendant. The sentence must be tailored to fit the particular circumstance of the case and the defendant. In tailoring the sentence, the offense and defendant, the court has gathered complete detailed information about the defendant. Court is satisfied with the reliability of the information received, satisfied that it is reasonably up to date, has determined its content as a sentencing consideration, and has resolved any challenges as to its accuracy in favor of the defendant. It's the sense of the court that you be placed on probation for a period of 3 years under the terms of the Home's Youthful Trainee status. As part of your probation, you will have a substance abuse evaluation and abide by that recommendation. You will continue with your outpatient treatment right now and anything else they may be ordered that will assist you in your recovery. And remember, that is a constant recovery. It's not something that just goes away. This is for the rest of your life. Is she currently going to meetings, AA or NA? I want her to go to AA or NA meetings. Actually, it'll be AA because alcohol seems to be her drug of choice. 1 time per week, and I want sign-in sheets. And you will do that for the entire 3 years. I want you to find a meeting that you feel comfortable going to. I am told there is an Al-Anon meeting on Cass at the Al-Anon Club that is very helpful for people your age. I believe it's on Fridays, either at 8 or 9 p.m. You might want to call over there, tell them your age and that you're looking to come when there's a meeting with maybe some people your age at that meeting. But I also think it's helpful for you to find someone who will be, and then I'll 4 times per month, and then I will reduce it for the second year to 3 times, and then the last year 1 time per month. You will abide by whatever outpatient program is recommended, including what you are currently doing. You're going to perform 100 hours of community service, and I'd like probation to tailor that community service around possibly working in the healthcare field with those people who have suffered auto accidents or traumatic brain injury. I want her to see the effects that drinking and driving have on people in the hospital and their constant need for recovery. So make sure that we tailor it accordingly. You will attend the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Victim Impact Panel. Is there a representative here, you say?
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Harris?
Ms. Harris, what else do you have that she may be able to partake in that would be could assist her?
We don't do court-ordered community service projects. She can volunteer once she is outside of adjudication.
Okay.
So obviously that's outside of her 3 years.
Okay.
I think her coming to the impact panel, I actually facilitate the panel in Mount Clemens, and my speakers are both males that were injured and had traumatic brain injuries as a result. I think it's a good panel for her to attend. Outside of that, I would size 615.
And where's this at?
It is at I think it's a Methodist church, the First United Methodist at Cass and Gratiot. It's also can be found on our website.
Counsel, write that down. That's the one she's going to attend. If she thinks that's the one, she can make the provisions to be there. Do you have class on December 3rd? What time do you go to school?
I go Monday and Wednesday, Monday and Wednesday from 11 to 12 to 1:30.
Okay, so you can go on Thursday, December 3rd, because it's a Thursday.
Yeah, I don't go to class late.
So I'm ordering that she attends that meeting, and you'll be there to verify that she attended. There is a $68 state fee on the felony, a $50 state fee on the misdemeanor. $10 per month supervision fees, $10 per month court costs. Secretary of State has done what with her license?
Restricted.
She has a restricted license. Probation, did I miss anything?
Just to note, Your Honor, count one is a misdemeanor. We can't do
I'm
3
sorry.
years. Did you want 2 years?
2 years probation,
And there's also a fine on that count of $250.
$250 fine to be paid within 1 year. And is there any type of restitution?
No, Your Honor. There shouldn't be.
Anything else, probation?
Did we address the $50 state cost?
She did say.
You did that?
Yes. In determining the sentence for this defendant, the court has considered the discipline or punishment of the wrongdoer, the protection of society, the potential for rehabilitation of the defendant, the deterring of others from committing like offenses. You are entitled to file an application for leave to appeal your sentence and/or your conviction. If you'd like an attorney and cannot afford one, I'll appoint one. You have 42 days to make that request. Clerk has handed you a form which is called a Notice of Right to Timely Appeal. Did you get the form?
Yes, Your Honor, she signed it and executed it.
If you have any problem with any condition of probation, come and see me. You walk through that door and ask to see me. And I'll be more than happy to talk to you.
Your Honor, pursuant to the plea agreement, count one is dismissed.
Motion's granted.
Thank you.
Good luck. Good luck to you all.
May I have a couple minutes, Your Honor?
Sure.
Can you just go over here, please?